Mr. Viktoras Daukšas, thank you for invitation to give us interview for Media Information Agency. You have been at helm of the bank for 3 years. Can you tell us how this initiative functioning? How many media outlets does it unit, and does it include other in addition to media? What is its primary objective?
Primary objective is to educate citizens and to show what is actually happening there, so people would know and they could decide by themselves. And we started 3 years ago, funded by Google and Delfi. Delfi is the media outlet for the Baltics. And we cooperate with other, in totally 8 media outlets that support us. They publish the content, take the interview. Most of the debunking is done by the professional journalists that are very well equipped with the experience and the knowledge in defense, international relationships, and so on. So these type of journalists are pretty rare. There's not many journalists in the countries who can be at that level and to work on this. Others are more doing like a support work. And as an initiative, what we do, so we analyze the open information that is available online, and we search for the harmful narratives. And we collected over years kind of big database, and now we can spot if the same narratives are being reused online, if they reappear. So that means if they reappear, we can catch them fast. So this is a big efficiency. And also we can inform the journalists or our partners that we work with that, look, this is something new and it's trending. And it was marked and labeled as harmful in the past. So this is how things work.
How many stories did you debunk these 3 years that you're functioning?
So in the last 2 years, we published more than 200 stories. And those stories were read more than 13 million times. So that for our country size, that is extremely good reach. And it's a fact that there are some comments that when there is debunks or fact checks, they have a very bad readership. If you do it rightly, in the right way, and with interesting story that is really harmful, people want to know. So people will read when it's interesting.
I read on your website that you're offering detection of fake news in 2 minutes. How do you do that?
So with the support of Google, we developed this tool, the platform, that's AI-driven, and that's how we catch the information so fast. And we can analyze it, so we can catch it in a few minutes from real time, we can catch it, we can analyze it, and we can map it to the harmful narratives that we already have. And this is how we inform our stakeholders that we cooperate.
You studied physics and you're championing IT development. Is it possible to create some kind of a platform to develop an app that will hunt fake news without a human factor being involved? Is it realistic?
It will be not realistic for a really long time. And our beginning, so yes, my bachelor is applied physics, and we were very practical from the beginning. We looked what is worth to automate in what stage. And if you will do the automation too early, so either you will fail on the cost, so it will be too expensive, or either it will have a bad precision rate. So what we decided, so we decided to add multiple human layers to review what the machine is finding. And this is how the machine is learning. People are getting the feedback back, and then we can train again and again and again. So it's better to train and better to learn in a step-by-step process rather than trying to create something perfect from the beginning.
It's very much cheaper to create disinformation than to debunk it. Can you tell me something about that? About profit that platforms that are factories for fake news are making annually, maybe?
So yes, that is the main problem with disinformation, that it costs it to create, it's much cheaper than to debunk it, and it's a big issue. And all the international community and organizations need to work on that and think what efficiencies could be achieved to reduce the cost to debunk and increase the cost to create disinformation. If we would check the analysis that was done by GDI, so they analyzed more than 20,000 websites connected with disinformation and all kind of misinformation, disinformation content. So they calculated that these websites were able to capture $235 million per 1 year from programmatic advertising.
What is the situation with the media in Lithuania these days?
So in Lithuania or in the Baltics, the media is quite well established. So we have all these smaller websites that tend to do the damage. And of course, there's a social media effect, and that is one of really big issues. And there's lots of even Lithuanian elves. So there are already more than 4,000 of people who are active in social media, trying to catch trolls in Facebook. So that is the activity they do, and it's like really important work. But there is strong presence of foreign country influence on the other websites that are not from Lithuania, but they are like trying to spread information to Lithuania or around it. And we still have quite high number of population that is that understands Russian well, and they tend to be attacked with that. For the citizens, I think the main thing is that don't catch yourself, if you catch yourself getting emotional, don't share the content. Probably it's already built in a way that it's attacking your emotions, and someone is putting the effort for you to share the content. So typically this is the story. And I would say that it's important, like what media do you use, and how do you know if it's credible or not? So I think it's like same with with the food, with the nutrition labels. You need to read in order to understand what kind of food you are taking. The same is with the media. You need to understand who is behind the media, who are the owners, and are they credible, and are they doing good for you or not?
Thank you very much.